Hi, welcome back. I'm Moksha. If you missed my first video in this series, you can check that out and learn my backstory and how I got here. I'm a full-time artist working currently in Portland, Oregon. And in this video, I wanted to just kind of answer the question for everybody. I sometimes get, how do you become a full-time artist? Is it really feasible? How does that look? And so let's start with this sort of, I think there's a bit of a myth about the starving artist mentality that we have to suffer and it's hard or nearly impossible and all these things. And it requires a tremendous amount of work, and it doesn't just entail sitting around making art. There's a lot of other things involved. But if there's a joke that goes with that. So if you watch the first video, I tell you that for almost 20 years I worked in the corporate world as a video game artist and making backgrounds and things like that. And when I decided to quit that job and become a full-time artist, I was kind of terrified, and I didn't know if I could do it. But the joke that I wanted to tell you is that, in that industry I was working 40 hours a week, and I quit the day job, the 40-hour-a-week day job, to work 80 hours for myself. And that's kind of true. The work never stops, but it's work that I enjoy. I love what I do. And so it mostly doesn't feel like work. And so where do we begin? I think that the first thing you need to have if you want to be a full-time artist, is you need to really truly possess the want to do it. This is the most important thing. If you're sort of half in, it probably will be hard to make it work. You have to want to do it. And secondly, you have to do it. And practice. Let's say at this point we're just focused on making art, and you're still developing your style and your voice as an artist, figuring out what it is you want to tell, the story you want to tell. And so you have to just dive in and work all the time and learn, take workshops if you need to, watch videos online, try new mediums, really focus on what it is you're passionate about. Try not to, as we're learning in any field, any artist, whether it's a musician or a painter or a writer, we all often go through an early phase where we're emulating the people that we admire. Charles Bukowski, I believe it was, sat down in front of his typewriter and he propped up a copy of, I forget which book it was, a D.H. Lawrence book, and he copied the whole thing. He rewrote the whole book on his typewriter. And he said he did that because he wanted to feel what it felt like to write a masterpiece. And painters have copied famous paintings in a process of learning, and musicians have emulated their heroes almost directly. And this is sort of like the training wheel phase, and it's a process we go through when we're learning. But at a certain point, you need to take the training wheels off, and you need to look inward and develop your own voice and forget all those influences. Stop trying to be like other painters. I sort of get lumped sometimes into the genre of visionary art. And visionary art is a genre that's rife with cliches and kind of potholes and things that we can fall into and start, we produce work that looks like something we think it should look like, rather than really looking inward at what is our own story and what is it we want to say as an artist. And so that's something to look out for as you're developing your style. But, and part of that equation too that can be super damaging is we can have a lot of anxiety about our work as artists, and there's this danger of comparing ourselves to other artists. This is especially damaging because we get into this mode of like, well, I'm not as good as they are. I'll never be as good as they are, so why bother? I shouldn't even try. I've had that feeling. You go to a museum or something and you see fantastic work. Oh, I saw a Dali painting in a museum in New York, and it can be discouraging. Every artist has probably had that moment of like being so inspired. You're like, oh, I just want to quit. Why bother? And this is true. I know how that feels, and that's healthy actually in a way to be that inspired. But don't quit. Don't give up, and don't try to be that artist. I'm never going to paint like Dali, and that's okay. I'm not him. I have my own voice, my own style, and my own thing to say with my art. And so this brings a lot of anxiety when we start comparing, and so it's better just to kind of leave that at the door and not worry about it, because the more you work, the more your style will evolve on its own. If you're true to what you have to say as an artist, if you're genuine. And so this is a long process. We've decided we want to do it. We're working our butts off, producing a lot of work, and there comes a time when it's time to share that work with the world. And there's a lot to be said about this, and I won't go too deep into it. But I think that the biggest thing that helped me in this process of getting myself out there was to find a community. And for me, my avenue was to, when I started live painting at festivals, I was surrounded by people, and not just an audience, but other artists that were painting and doing the same thing that I was doing. And so suddenly I had this like supportive community of artist friends and all kinds of advice, and we were collaborating on work together, and it's so enriching and so supportive. Previously, I was the studio painter working alone, and it's kind of a vacuum, and sometimes we need support, and we need feedback, and we need other eyes on our work. And so for me, as I said, that was live painting, that was festivals, and it's led me to a point now where I'm part of an art collective in Portland, Oregon, where I kind of live in that environment 24/7. And this is great. It's actually so stimulating and overwhelming that there's times when I want privacy and I want to just kind of close my studio and try to work alone. But it's a blessing, and so I really can't complain. And so what else is there to say? I mean, there's a lot of business related information on doing this as a career. And I don't think I want to get into that. That's kind of more than a little video can capture. Maybe I'll produce another video that hits on some of those points. But essentially, to recap, you want to do it, you do it, put in your 10,000 hours, connect to your community. Through your community, you get all the support and encouragement and opportunities. People will have, shows to share with you, mural gigs and things of this nature. And you'll have an outlet, you'll have an audience to sell work. And selling originals is one route. Selling merchandise is excellent for what we do, making prints and things like that. And I guess that is about what I want to say for this video. You just have to focus and develop your vision, stay true to yourself, work hard, and you will be rewarded. I believe that just completely giving yourself to this process 100% with authenticity and passion. As Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss, and the universe will open for you. You just got to have faith and keep it on, keep doing it, So again, check out my last video if you missed it. Please like this video, follow me. These things really help support me, and I'll see you in the next video.